Time now for Michigan's #1 outdoor radio show, Mike Avery's Outdoor Magazine. Mike Avery has covered the outdoors in Michigan for more than 4 decades, and that tradition continues today. Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Jay's Sporting Goods, the Eider Insurance Group, Angler Quest Pontoons, the Forward Corporation, Primal Outdoors, Security Credit Union, Offshore Tackle, Garber Chevrolet, Rapid River Knife Works, and by Michigan Brand Meats. Now, here's Mike Avery.
Indeed, this is the big guy, Mike Avery. Thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction. And welcome to another edition of the Outdoor Magazine radio show here on the Outdoor Magazine radio network on more than 30 radio stations across the great state of Michigan. And as always, so glad to be back with you talking about this thing that we love so much, this passion that we have, this love for the outdoors, hunting and fishing and shooting and trapping. It's not a hobby, right? It's not a hobby. It's more of a lifestyle, right? A hobby is something you go tinker around in the garage and you go back in and watch TV or whatever. Now, this is something we think about, we dream about, we plan for. When we're not doing it, we're thinking about it. And I'm talking about, again, hunting and fishing and shooting and trapping. And can you believe this is the last time that we're going to talk in the month of September? Wow. It seems like fall. To me, it does. It seems to me like fall just kind of snuck up on us. You knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. We had those 2 weeks or so of summer-like weather, and it's like, yeah, I know fall's coming. I know it's September, but it feels like July. And then, boom, the weather changed. Temperatures dropped. We got a little rain. It seems like the leaves have changed more. Some of the leaves are dropping depending on where you live, and it's like, boom, okay, it is indeed fall. Boom. Because the next time we talk, it's October. I am recording the show a couple of days early this week to cover my bear hunt. Now, you're thinking, Avery, what are you still doing bear hunting? Bear season's been going on for 2 weeks. Well, it has. But I had the third season, kind of the off season, the last thing just before you slide into bow season. It's not traditionally the best season to have. But if you're in a good area and you're hunting with a good guy, or if you're baiting for yourself, or if you're running dogs, and you're with good people, you can still make it happen. And that's what I am hoping. By the time you hear the show, I will know the outcome to my bear hunt. I'm in the Seney area hunting with Johnny Bowler, the Bear Whisperer. I have chosen this time around to use a gun, and I'm still not, I got to be honest. All right, I'm being completely honest. I'm still not real comfortable with that decision. I feel like bear hunting over bait is the perfect scenario to use archery gear because it's close up, it's personal. I've taken a lot of bears with a bow, never taken one with a gun, and that's one reason I want to use that Brenton 350 Legend. But we'll see how it goes. I have had to shorten the hunt up a little bit because of some other obligations. And in fact, I told Johnny, just joking around, half-heartedly though, I said, Johnny, the first bear that walks in front of me that doesn't have milk on his mouth, I'm going to shoot it. Now, look, it doesn't mean I'm going to shoot a cub or looking to shoot a cub, no. But it just means my plan, as I'm sitting here in the studio, before the hunt has started, I'm not going to hold out for a great big bear. There have been hunts in the past, primarily hunts in Ontario, where I knew I was going to see bears. I'd taken a lot of bears the last few years, and it's like, okay, I'm going to hold out for a really big bear. That's not the case this year. I have yet to shoot a Michigan bear. Of all the bears I've taken, I have never taken one in Michigan yet. I've had opportunities, but decided not to shoot. Maybe that'll be the case this year. Maybe as I'm sitting in that blind, a smaller bear will walk in. I'm going to say, you know what? I don't want one that bad. But I do want to take my first Michigan bear. I do want to take it with a Brenton, a Michigan-made rifle. I'm excited to hunt for the first time with a suppressor on that gun. I put a new scope on it. And this was primarily, to be honest with you, the new scope and the suppressor in preparation for rifle season here in Michigan, but I've got a good opportunity to use this, and I'm looking forward to it. Now, realistically, what I think you are probably looking forward to is bow season that opens up here in just a couple of days in the great state of Michigan. To be honest with you, I haven't put that much attention that direction yet because I've been getting ready for this bear hunt. Once I get that bear hunt out of the way, then I'll fully turn my attention to bow hunting. And because I'm not hunting with a recurve this year, and because I'm not hunting with a compound this year, I am hunting with a crossbow. Again, being brutally honest with you, it doesn't take the amount of preparation that it would if I was using a recurve or even a compound. It is easier to get a crossbow dialed in and ready to go. Does that mean you don't have to do it? Does that mean you can just pick it up and head for the woods opening morning? Absolutely not. You still need to put in the preparation. You still need to throw the arrows down range. You still need to shoot your broadhead. You still need to make sure everything's dialed in. Because as hunters, we have an obligation to be as proficient and efficient as possible. To make a quick, clean, humane killing shot whenever possible. That's what all hunters, I believe, strive for. Do things go wrong sometimes? Absolutely. Does an animal move at the last minute? Yes. Do you get a deflection from a twig you didn't see? Yes. It happens. But we want to be as good as we possibly can. So I'm again, as I'm sitting here in the studio, I am excited for the bear hunt. I really don't know what to expect. Johnny is a great guide. He's got a lot of bears still coming into baits right now. And then when I get back downstate, I will turn my attention to bow season. Oh, and amongst all this other stuff that's going on, I need to get my boat, the Angler Quest, stored away for the winter. I know what you're telling me. Avery, why are you putting the boat away? There's such great fall fishing out there. There's some good perch fishing. There's some great walleye fishing. I know. And every year I tell myself I'm going to take advantage of the fall walleye fishing, and every year I don't. And so the boat ends up sitting there at the slip all through the month of September. Gets to be October, and it's like, oh, man, I gotta get that thing over to Linwood Beach and get her taken care of. So I will do that. And listen, if I get a desire to go walleye fishing, I got a lot of friends who have boats, including Angler Quests out there. Not that I'm only limited to fishing an Angler Quest, don't get me wrong, but I've got a lot of friends who are very, very good fishermen who have given me a blanket invitation. Anytime they're heading out, I'm welcome to go with them. So I know I've got that covered. But I'm also, and this came up a couple of weeks ago on the show, I'm really quite interested in doing some more casting for walleye this fall. We had Jim Hoppy on the show a couple of weeks ago to talk about that. And in fact, he joined us. I got a chance to meet Jim in person at the recent Wednesday Night Live at the Lumberjack Restaurant in West Branch, which turned out to be another great success. Thank you, Forward Corporation. Thank you to everybody at the Lumberjack. But I was talking more with Jim about casting for walleye, and some of the places that I had overlooked in the past, he said, no, you've got to try those. He says, any place you see shad busting up after dark is a place you can cast for walleye. So I've got that on my mind too. So I've got what I consider to be a pretty good fall season coming up, and I suspect you the same. Is it going to be fall fishing? Is it going to be wrapping up a bear season? Is it going to be deer hunting? Is it small game hunting? Is it upland bird hunting? There's so much going on in the fall. I do want to see your pictures. Don't hesitate to send them to me. Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com. I would love to post them and share them with the world. This last week, pretty much as always this time of year, and I don't get these comments from people complaining about fishing pictures, but when I start posting a ton of hunting pictures, which I have been lately, it seems to bring the crazies out of the woodwork. It seems to bring the people who have nothing better to do than to try to ruin our day by making negative comments on hunting pictures. I don't get it, but at this point in my life, I've learned not to try to get it. The anti-hunters, they don't get what we do. And there's a lot of differences between them and us, but here's just one small example of it, right? I know for a fact that you do not go out to the anti-hunting pages and post comments there to rile things up because you have better things to do. I have better things to do. But it seems like it is their goal to go on pages like mine and other pro-hunting pages and make negative, nasty comments. Now, as soon as I see them, I just delete them and ban them because I don't want to deal with that type of stuff. But why is it that they not only don't believe in what we do, but they think we shouldn't be able to do it either? That's the difference. If I don't believe in what you're doing, I just won't partake of it. I won't probably try to convince you not to do it. I'll let you go on with your life and have a great day. But these whack jobs, if they don't agree with what we're doing, they make it their goal to make it so we can't do it. I'll never understand. In fact, I've given up trying to understand. Coming up on this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show after the break, Kris Duerson of Rapid River Knives. There are so many things going on at that UP-based company, including a very cool partnership between Kris and another UP-based company. I'll let him tell you the details. Then Nick Buggia of the Michigan Wildlife Council. They're Here for Generations campaign. They have turned their marketing, or they are turning their marketing more towards us as hunters and anglers and shooters and trappers, and I think it's a great idea. In hour number 2, Mike Stewart, a hunter and audiologist, talking about shooting and hearing loss. That's something I'm all well too aware of. Steve Wyndham from MUCC talks about a way you can get OnX, the hunting app, just by signing up for MUCC. And in hour number 3, Jerry Wydner of the Hunter Safety System on Treestand Safety. And, of course, we wrap it all up with Wild Game Chef Extraordinaire Dixie Dave Minar. That's this week right here on Outdoor Magazine. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Alpena on WZTK. That's 105.7 FM. You can hear us in Port Huron, WPHM, 1380 AM. And you can hear us north of the bridge in the Sioux on WKNW 1400 AM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by VersaSkins. Just change your skin for the season you're in. Why buy a bunch of different sets of expensive hunting clothes when you can buy one good quality set and then snap on and zip on an outer shell of a different camo pattern? Paul Perone, the company owner and the guy who came up with this process, I think it's a great idea. They are warm, they are windproof, they are weatherproof, being rainproof, and literally in less than 60 seconds you can change your camo pattern. Plus, if you need big sizes like 4, 5, 6X, VersaSkins can help you out. And if you are a saddle hunter, VersaSkins makes jackets specifically for saddle hunters. You can learn more online at versaskins.com. That's versaskins.com. They're also now on Amazon. If you go to Amazon and do a search for VersaSkins brand, you can order them right there. How cool is that? It's another example of a Michigan-based family-owned company. I love to work with Michigan-based family-owned companies. The way I look at this is, those of us in the outdoor industry here in Michigan, we're all in this together, right? There may be some competition, and you got to compete with others, and you're trying to be the best you can be. But overall, we're all here trying to promote this outdoor lifestyle, and that's why I like it when I can partner with Michigan-based family-owned companies. And you know that I love to partner with Rapid River Knives. Do I need to do it already in the show? Okay, I will. Here it is right here. Well, that wasn't a good one. Let me give you another one. That's the sound of my Rapid River knife locking back. I just pulled it out of my pocket. I carry it with me all the time. Kris Duerson is the man behind Rapid River Knives. And I'm telling you what, this guy, he is not letting any moss grow under his feet. He's got all kinds of things going on. I said, hey, Kris, you want a few minutes on the radio show this week to talk about him? And he said, absolutely. And he's with us now on the phone line. Kris, welcome back. How are you?
I'm great, Mike. How are you?
Well, I'm doing good. But, man, trying to keep up with you is exhausting. You just never slow down.
Oh, yeah. The mind never stops. We've got a lot of stuff going on.
Hey, let me ask you, before we go too far, how'd your bear season go? You had some guys you were guiding, didn't you?
No, I did not. I had a lot of people that I helped and sent in the right direction. But overall, the early bear hunt, talking to the customers in and out of the retail store, went pretty well, and then it sounded like they shut down for 5 or 6 days during that hot spell last week.
Yeah.
I have a third season tag, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, you do as well. Well, so do I. We'll compare notes in a few days.
Absolutely.
What about your other adventures, Kris? Any Western hunts this year? What do you got going on?
Well, I'd already gone out to Idaho again, and we shot another Boone and Crockett mountain lion, a bunch of wolves, coyotes, and bobcats.
Wow.
I'm going back to the same place. This will be something that we're gonna roll out here officially, but you and I had talked about it. We're going to be doing an ultimate bear hunt giveaway with Ace Outfitters out of Riggins, Idaho. So one of our whoever signs up for everything that needs to be signed up for is going to win about a $12,500 bear hunting package, and they're going to get to go hunting with us out in Idaho for color-phased black bears.
And by us, you mean you.
Me, yes, Matt and I, and then a few other people from Ace. But it's an incredible setup, and it's going to be an unbelievable giveaway. Well,
we don't have all the details on this. Yes, as soon as they're locked in, we'll be sure to do that. But really soon here down the road, we'll let people know how they can become a part of this, right?
Yes, absolutely. I would say within the next 2 months.
Oh, okay, very good. We'll keep an ear out for that. Now, you mentioned early in this conversation, you mentioned the retail shop. Let's talk more about this, because that place, I say every week, it's a destination. It's a show place. You do get people just stopping by to see what's going on, don't you?
Absolutely. We had a family stop in this weekend that listens to you. They're from Midland. They drove up 6 hours and spent about 2 hours in the store. And I asked them, what you guys up to the rest of the day? And they said, we're just going home. So they drove here all the way from Midland because they listened to you and they heard us talking about it on the radio. But yeah, we get people from all over the world actually in and out of our store every day. So it's very unique.
Well, you say unique. The store is unique. It's a destination, but your knives are really something special, Kris. I mean, these things they're heirlooms that are designed to be used. I think you would shed a tear if I took this knife out of my pocket, put it up on the mantle, and never touched it again. Yes,
we definitely want you to use them, and so this was going to take us into the next collaboration that we're doing. We're actually getting ready to. We teamed up with another big time Michigan company, and it's been around for over 100 years, Stormy Cromer, and we're going to be. We are making the first and the only official Stormy Cromer Signature Series knife for them, and those are going to be available for purchase pre-sale on our website on October 1st. So we're really excited about that. It's a gorgeous knife, and we've kind of worked some of the Cromer history and our history into both the knife and the sheath, and it's going to be a limited edition knife, but we want you to use it. So it's a great project. I think people are going to love them.
Well, I've seen a picture of the very first one you guys made as a proof of concept, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Oh, it is. So I had this idea back in 2019, and I approached Cromer with it, Stormy Cromer, and they loved the idea. And the day that we were supposed to have our meeting about the knife, we got shut down. The governor shut us down for COVID. So after all the chaos and everything, this year I decided I want to pursue this again, and so I called Gina over there at Cromer, and she said yes, absolutely, this is something we need to do. So it's very unique because we both make real high quality handmade products right here in Upper Michigan, and we're able to incorporate our style and their style into a knife. So it's a very unique knife. Cool.
It's beautiful, and I don't want to let the cat out of the bag too much here, but you are incorporating the material that Stormy Cromer is made from in your sheath.
Absolutely, and we're using the original Stormy Cromer fabric, the old stuff, the old thick wool. we're incorporating that into the sheath and doing a few other things to it that make it unique to the UP and to both companies for Rapid River Knife Works and Stormy Kromer.
So can we get those October 1st, or do we go on the website, rapidriverknifeworks.com, October 1st, and sign up?
There's going to be 500 of them made. They're all going to be individually serial numbered. So the only way to really to make that work correctly is people get on our website on October, ours or Stormy Kromer's, and you pre-order the knife. We're only going to guarantee 200 of these knives will be delivered by Christmas. So for that, for somebody that's looking for the ultimate Christmas gift for an outdoorsman, this is it. So it will come with a certificate of authenticity that's serial numbered, the same serial number that's on the knife. So yes, October 1st you can start pre-ordering them, and we are going to ship them in the order of which we get the orders.
And even this knife, seriously, you want people to go use it? This is one I would be tempted to put up and just look at.
This one you might want to, but at the same time, with our warranty, the free sharpening and polishing for life, we guarantee that we'll always keep it looking new for you. So you could still use it, and then when you're done, just send it back in and have it cleaned up. But it's definitely going to be a very special knife.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the response on that. Speaking of different models of knives, you've come up with a few lately, including the folding fillet knife. How's that going?
That folding fillet's been selling great. We did a launch on our website and did a little countdown timer, and we sold the first 50 that we custom laser engraved, I think, in about an hour and a half. The first 50 were gone, and we've sold about 300 of those so far, actually 350.
Huh.
And I'm getting a lot of great feedback for people who love it for a fillet knife, for a boning knife, for a kitchen knife, for everything. And it is a great everything knife. It comes with a nice leather sheath, and you can just stuff it away in your pack or put it in your tackle box or whatever you want, and it's kind of an everything knife. So that's been very successful.
And what about the new downsized pocket knife? How's that going?
Oh, the Uper Junior.
Yeah.
That has been very successful as well. So the original Uper Clip is our best-selling knife of all time. And if somebody didn't buy that knife, the only reason they didn't buy it was because it was too big for their pocket. So we made a 50% version of the same knife. So it's the Uper Pocket Clip Junior that's got a little tiny pocket clip on it, and it's a cute little knife. It's very practical, and that's been very, very successful as well.
Well, folks can find all of these things on this new website, rapidriverknifeworks.com. Kris, I'm impressed that a company from the UP that is kind of I don't want to say an artisan shop, but handmade by craftsmen in Michigan's Upper Peninsula, that you are embracing modern-day tools, social media, and websites and stuff to get your product out there. And that new website is very slick.
Yeah, we've got a total of over 4,000 man-hours into this new website right now. It's been a job we've retaken, and it's still, it's going to be a work in progress forever from here on out. But we had to retake thousands and thousands of photos of the knives, and we're still working on some of them. So if you get in there and you see a picture that's not all that great, it's going to be, by the end of the year, hopefully the website will be perfect by the end of the year. But then you have to maintain it and keep it going and keep it fresh and keep it new. So, yeah, it'll be a never-ending process.
Kris, hang tight. We've got to take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine Show. We're talking with Kris Duerson, the man behind Rapid River Knives, the website rapidriverknifeworks.com, rapidriverknifeworks.com. Check it out. If you're interested in one of the new Stormy Kromer Rapid River knives, put your name on the list right now. I've seen a picture of them. They're absolutely beautiful. But we will take a break here. When we come back, wrap up our conversation with Kris, and then after that, Nick Buggia of the Michigan Wildlife Council with an update on their Here for Generations campaign. You'll remember this is a campaign to promote our outdoor heritage, hunting and fishing, shooting and trapping. I'm all in on that one. Lots more coming up this week right here on Outdoor Magazine. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Battle Creek on WVCK, that's 95.3 FM. You can hear us in Ludington on News 97, 98, 98.7 WLDN, and you can hear us north of the bridge in Marquette, WDMJ 1320 AM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine brought to you by Killer Food Plots. Rich and Ellie Krizan of Killer Food Plots were with us at the most recent Wednesday Night Live at the Lumberjack Restaurant in West Branch. Really, really great people, and they make great products. Now, look, I know this time of year you're hunting, or soon will be, over your food plots that you planted earlier. You're not probably putting in food plots right now, but keep them in mind for next year's projects. Also, remember that they also have a line of scents and attractants to check out as well. That's killerfoodplots.com, killerfoodplots.com. Speaking of Wednesday Night Lives, we did a Wednesday Night Live at the Rapid River Knife Works shop about 3 years ago. I've been trying to get Kris to come back down for one, but Kris, trying to corral you is like, man, you are just so busy these days.
It's tough. Yeah, I'm all over the place. Between the business and my son's playing football, I'm and basketball and track and everything else, I'm pretty hard to tie down.
Well, it's better to be busy than bored is what I always say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kris,
we're coming up with a lot of new knife designs, and we actually did a full facelift on our factory store this year. A bunch of stone, and just kind of dressed it up a little bit, and so it's been we have not had a dull day at the store all year.
I haven't been there in a little bit. Did you redo the inside or the outside? Because you just redid the inside.
No, the outside. The inside looks beautiful.
Yeah.
The outside looked more like a pole barn manufacturing building, and I put stone on the whole outside all the way around the building. But the building's 150 feet long, so it took a semi-load of stone and a lot of labor this summer to get that done. So between that and rebuilding the website, we've had our hands full.
Kris, a lot of different companies make knives. Small knife makers in their garage, big corporate conglomerates all across the country. Why are you guys growing so fast? I don't want to say fast. Why are you growing so much right now?
It's a combination of a lot of things. I mean, customer service is something that people really want, and it's something that's very, very hard to find. So on our webpage, there's a little chat widget on there, and when you get in there and ask a question, either myself or somebody on my staff actually gets that, and we'll get it in the form of a text message. So you might be talking with me on there when you're looking at a knife and you ask a particular question. We're right on there. We're very engaged all the time, and we also our warranty is second to none. We'll sharpen and polish that knife free for life. We'll fix anything that needs to be fixed, and we'll keep you. We'll make sure that your knife's new. If you want it new, we'll keep it new for you for life.
What should we look for in this upcoming hunting season for just a good all-around, all-purpose knife? Do we need a big 6-inch blade on these things? I see a lot of guys carrying big knives. They look cool, but I don't know how functional they are.
I don't know. I think guys that are carrying 6-inch knives don't field dress too many deer. Our average size field dressing knife is between 3 and 4 3/4 of an inch. The blade, the cutting edge. You don't want anything too big, but you want something long enough to get in there and get the windpipe. But too much blade ends up getting in the way. So our drop point blade, Skinner blade, the Mackinac, and the Royal 7, those four are our most popular whitetail / big game hunting knives. I mean, you can do a whitetail or a moose with the same knife.
Any reason you couldn't use one of your popular, like I got in my pocket right now, one of your folding pocket knives? I mean, that's a perfect blade length right there.
You could certainly use that Uper pocket clip that you have. That's plenty of blade to field dress a whitetail with. It just comes down to personal preference, really.
Yeah.
And they're all made with great steel, and everything comes with that great warranty. So no matter what you use, it'll get the job done for you.
All right, I'm going to ask you a question that I know the answer to right away because I've asked you this before. How do we keep a good edge on that knife?
So, like we talked about in the past, you want to strop your knife on a belt, on a piece of leather or something as you're using it before you even take it to a whetstone. So we actually make a pocket strap now, a field strap that you can fit right in your pocket, put in your gear bag. You field dress a deer, and while you're doing it, you strap your blade back and forth on that little pocket strap, and it breaks off the little microscopic burrs, which feels like you're tearing instead of cutting. It breaks those off while they're really small, keeps your knife sharper longer. And then when you finally need to regrind it, then you can either mail it to us or you can use one of our sharpening devices.
Real quick, because I'm running out of time. When you use a strap, are you pushing the blade into that strap like you're trying to cut it, or are you pulling it across it backwards?
You're pushing it in, and you're pushing it in and turning it straight up at a 90, almost snapping it.
Ah, okay.
Because you're trying to break that little burr off the edge of the blade.
Gotcha.
Just like a barber uses a straight razor.
Sometime I'm going to get some video of you doing that, and we'll post it so it makes it very clear. Listen, Kris, I got to let you go. Kris Duerson of Rapid River Knife Works, the new website, rapidriverknifeworks.com. Go there to get on the list for one of the new beautiful Rapid River Stormy Cromer knives. Keep an eye on that website. Keep an eye on my Facebook page and here on this radio show for more on the big hunt giveaway that's going to be announced here soon. And also, as we get closer to gun season, Kris has a wonderful buck pole as well. So lots going on at Rapid River. RapidRiverKnifeWorks.com. We'll take a break. When we come back, Nick Buggia of the Michigan Wildlife Council right here on Outdoor Magazine. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Caro on two stations, WKYO 1360 AM and WIDL 92.1 FM. You can hear us in Lansing on WILS 1320 AM, and you can hear us north of the bridge in Iron Mountain, WMIQ 1450 AM. This segment of Outdoor Magazine brought to you by the Linwood Beach Marina and Campground. Linwood Beach can be your year-round Saginaw Bay fishing destination. If you're going to be fall fishing, Linwood Beach, a great place to head out on the waters of Saginaw Bay. If you're looking to put the boat to bed, I can't recommend the folks at Linwood Beach Marina enough. They can winterize your boat. They can shrink wrap it. They can take care of it so she's ready to rock for next summer. Check them out online at linwoodbeachmarina.com. That's linwoodbeachmarina.com. While you are online, please head over to my website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com, and make sure you check out this website here for MIOutdoors.org. That is the website of the Michigan Wildlife Council, a group that I support strongly because they are supporting Michigan's outdoor heritage. Nick Buggia is the head guy, the president of that group, the chairman of that group, and he's with us now on the Outdoor Magazine phone line. Nick, welcome back. How you doing?
Good. Thanks, Mike, for having me on.
Always a pleasure. I always love talking with you about this, Nick, because you have such a great perspective, because you are a hardcore outdoorsman, and you see this from the more administrative or public relations side as well.
Yeah, I always appreciate coming on and kind of sharing our updates.
So what are the updates now, Nick?
Yeah, so we have our last meeting we had up in Gaylord, and we kind of got some exciting news. We've been doing some polling and focus groups on really trying to find out how we can advance our message or be more aggressive in our messaging, and where that line is, where we kind of maybe lose people and become the message sort of becomes unappealing. So in the beginning, when we first started, images of animals that maybe had been harvested or firearms, that kind of turned off our audience real quick, and made the message not, made us look unreliable in their eyes, and, therefore they weren't really getting our message. And what we found, most recently is those types of images, hunters in the field with a firearm, or, someone posing with their grandchild with a harvested animal. Those images aren't turning off our audience like they once were. And so, we think that's a combination of one, our campaign is doing what it's intended to do, which is, educating people on the benefits of hunting and fishing, and letting them know that's an important part of wildlife management and our outdoor heritage and everything else. But two, it means we can kind of, I don't want to say get more in your face, but we can say, hey, these are hunters, and hunters do these things, and show hunters hunting, and have that message be accepted by non-hunters in our target audience. So that's kind of some exciting news, and I would expect this time next year our campaign might look a little bit different than it has in the past.
I think this is great news. I like this slight shift in direction, but I always use this as an opportunity to remind our audience now, people like us, hunters and anglers and shooters and trappers, that in today's world, unfortunately, our public image is more important than ever. So how do we share pictures these days? We share them online, and we do that. I think we need to take that into account, don't we, Nick?
Yeah, it's important to be respectful of what other people are viewing online, and just make sure that we're showing the things we enjoy doing in a positive light and in a respectful manner, so that folks don't take it and run with it in a negative way. And
as I've seen this last week on my page, you can take the most beautiful, well-composed, tasteful picture of a grandpa sitting over a grandson with a big buck, and if I'm not talking about the non-hunters. If the antis find it, they'll go with it anyway. There's very little we can do about that.
Yeah. But it is kind of a fun opportunity to get sort of artistic with your photography. There are a lot of cool ways to take photos that make it harder for those folks.
And I always say, when we talk about this, Nick, we're not caving into the anti-hunters. We're just trying to appeal to the non-hunters and promote our way of life in the most positive method possible. We're not caving into anybody.
No, exactly. And I mean, we're really doing the opposite, but we're just trying to show ourselves in the best light possible. So you kind of hit the nail on the head there.
Well, Nick, always a pleasure to talk with you. I appreciate your updates, your insight, and I will wish you a wonderful fall season, and we will talk again.
Sounds good. Have a good one.
You as well. Nick Buggia of the Michigan Wildlife Council, here for MIOutdoors.org, here for MIOutdoors.org. Their campaign is called Here for Generations, Here for Generations. And that's why when this group first was proposed, I said, I want to find out who's going to be in this, and I want to reach out to them, and I want to work with them, because that is a big part of what this Outdoor Magazine show is all about. The outdoor lifestyle, promoting the outdoor lifestyle, and doing everything we can in whatever way we can to ensure that this way of life is indeed here for generations. We'll take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine show. When we come back, something a little more pragmatic, saving your hearing while shooting. That's something I should have paid more attention to about 20 years ago. And then with Dr. Mike Stewart, who is also a hardcore hunter. And then Steve Wyndham of MUCC checks in as well. That's coming up in hour number 2 of this week's Outdoor Magazine.
Time now for Michigan's #1 outdoor radio show, Mike Avery's Outdoor Magazine. Mike Avery has covered the outdoors in Michigan for more than 4 decades, and that tradition continues today. Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Jay's Sporting Goods, the Eider Insurance Group, Angler Quest Pontoons, the Forward Corporation, Primal Outdoors, Security Credit Union, Offshore Tackle, Garber Chevrolet, Rapid River Knife Works, and by Michigan Brand Meats. Now, here's Mike Avery.
Yes, indeed. This is the big guy, Mike Avery. Thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to hour number 2 of this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show right here in the Outdoor Magazine radio network on radio stations across the great state of Michigan. And as always, so glad to have you along with us. This is, I've made this point many times, this is a radio show, and I think the best way to listen, if you can, is on your local radio station. If for nothing more than they get the they get the content of the show before I upload the podcast version. Yes, there is a podcast version of the radio show. It seems like you have to have a podcast these days. Everybody has a podcast these days. So I make a podcast version of the radio show available. You can hear that on my website, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. It's on my Facebook page, Amazon, Audible, Twitter, now called X, LinkedIn, Apple, Google, iHeart, SoundCloud, yada, yada, Player, Stitcher, Odyssey, yada, yada, YouTube, the whole 9 yards, the whole shameel. But I also do some podcasts that are specific, just as podcasts. They do not air on the radio network. Those include monthly podcasts for Offshore Tackle, Angler Quest Boats, the new Angler Quest, Quest, and also Primal Outdoors. Now, when we're done here in the studio recording this week's radio show, we will record this month's Primal podcast with the man himself, Bob Ransom. This guy is, his mind never sleeps. He never slows down. He's always coming up with great products, and I look forward to this conversation with him. You'll be able to hear that on their website, PrimalOutdoors.com. Okay, so it is the fall. What does that mean for you? Is it going to be fishing? Is it going to be hunting? Are you going to be bow hunting? Are you going to be gun hunting? There are a small percentage of hardcore hunters who are just bow hunters. In fact, for many years, that's all I did was bow hunt. I didn't pick up a gun other than at the range. Lately, though, I've been doing more gun hunting. I wish I would have paid more attention to the entire concept of shooting and potentially damaging your hearing when I was a younger man. My hearing isn't the greatest anymore, and I attribute that to three things: age, but also too much loud music when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I'd go to these concerts and stand in front of the speaker stack, which is absolutely stupid, and then did a fair amount of shooting without wearing hearing protection. And I know in my heart of hearts that the thing that really put me over the top was a buddy had a .45, and I'd never shot a .45 before. And he said, hey, you want to shoot this? I'm like, yeah, I'll shoot it. And he had a whole bunch of boxes of ammo there. And I shot that thing because I really like the feel of a .45. I like the slow push of a .45. But I shot a lot of rounds through that thing. And as we were driving back home, my ears were ringing so bad, and I couldn't hear just the guys in the front seat were talking back and forth. I could see that they were talking. All I could hear was muffled sounds. And I knew that I'd done some damage. Now, fast forward several years, I actually, as we're sitting here in the studio, I have hearing aids in. They help, but they're not a cure-all. Don't say, oh, yeah, when I get older, I'll just put in hearing aids, because they're not that great. They're okay, but they're not that great. A guy who knows this topic far better than I. He is a hardcore hunter, but he's also a very well-known audiologist. His name is Dr. Mike Stewart, and he's with us now on the Outdoor Magazine phone line. Mike, welcome back. How have you been?
Pretty good. How you been, Mike?
I'm doing real good. I'm excited to kick off this fall season.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a good one. Today it already feels like fall.
It does. Finally now, huh?
Yeah, finally. It's been a super hot summer and very, very dry September, so hopefully we'll get some rain here today.
Yeah.
We need it.
Now, Doc, you have been a hunter, from what I can understand, pretty much all your life, but how did you get into the audiology end of this? How did these two combine forces?
Well, I was at Michigan State University, and I was in social science pre-law, and I happened to be dating a speech pathologist at the time.
It all comes back to the woman.
Yeah. And actually, I ended up marrying an audiologist, not the same one that I dated when she was a speech pathologist, but and my daughter-in-law is an audiologist, so we're kind of an audiologist family here.
Let's talk about this concept of shooting and hearing loss. It is a real thing, isn't it? Potentially a real thing.
Oh, yeah. It's I would say it's probably the number one cause of recreational noise-induced hearing loss. There's a lot of noise out there with your toys, motorcycles, boats, stuff like that. But the firearm, I think, has potential to do more damage than any of them because of how loud the impulses are. Once the hearing is damaged, as you know, it's damaged forever. You can't regenerate it. By the way, on the hearing aid issue, some of the hearing aid companies are starting to use AI
I see that.
And I don't know if your hearing aids have that or not, but I've listened to those instruments, and they're better than the ones that have directional microphones. The AI actually, I'm not in that involved in that anymore. But the AI, what it does is separates the noise from the speech, and really makes the speech much clearer than with traditional directional microphones and noise processing.
Well, and that's what I got, the last generation of the directional microphones. And,
Yep.
and they're so new and they cost so much that I don't want to go out and buy one of these new AI ones, but I have heard examples of them online, and wow, they are pretty impressive.
They are really good, and it's tremendous. It's just getting better and better. And the noise is the big problem, Mike. It's if you were in quiet with your hearing aids, they work very, very well. But the noise, that's a different deal.
Yep, it is. And I could have prevented it, Doc. That's the whole thing.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So is hearing loss something that accumulates over time, or can you have one incident, say if you were in the military and a bomb goes off next to you, could a one-time incident make something happen?
No doubt. I've seen cases where the muzzle of the firearm has been directly in line with the person's head, a bystander's head, maybe 6 or 8 inches off the ear. And that person was permanently severely hearing impaired. Not just a high-frequency hearing loss like you normally see, but a severe hearing loss across the entire frequency range. And so it can wipe out the cochlea, depending on the sound level. You get around 160, 165, you start getting into the danger area. But you get into the 175, 180 range, and you're bound to cause significant hearing loss right now.
Lower levels over a number of years can also have an impact too. Lower sound levels, right?
Yes. It's an accumulative effect. And that's what we see with industrial workers or people who work around a lot of noise. Is little by little, the hearing starts to deteriorate in the higher frequency range first, and then it creeps into the mid and lower frequency range. But the higher frequency range it causes problems because you don't hear the high frequency consonant sounds, and so like you say, everything sounds muffled. You hear the vowels, but you don't hear the consonants. And the effect of that is speech sounds like people are talking through a towel.
It does, and you look for little ways around it, right? Like, I want to be looking at somebody when they talk to me, and if it's in a crowd, I think, to be honest with you, I think I'm starting to do a little bit of lip reading to try to figure out what's going on. Right.
Yeah, and there's a lot of things that the speaker can do to improve your hearing. If you don't understand what they say the first time around, just repeating it probably isn't going to do much better, so they could rephrase it. And that would give you a better chance of being able to hear. But it's always a problem. And when I was in practice, I would see people who were, they would deny they have a hearing loss, but their spouse would say, "Oh no, you've got a hearing loss."
It took me a while too. Well,
yeah.
So you're suggesting? Go ahead, Doc.
Go ahead. You don't really want to accept it
No.
that you are losing your hearing, and it's associated with the aging process also, which nobody wants to talk about that very much, but that's a compound effect, the aging and like you say, the noise in combination with each other can cause a lot of problems.
So maybe one suggestion would be if a female who has a higher voice wants to talk with you, maybe she shouldn't say something to you from 2 rooms away. Maybe she should come in and look at you. Is that a suggestion, Doc? Can I write that down and use it?
Yeah, you can write that down. My wife is an audiologist, and she tells people that all day long, but yet when it comes to me, she just says, "You're not listening to me." So she acts different as a wife than she does as an audiologist.
Hang tight, Doc. We got to take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine Show. We're talking with Dr. Mike Stewart, audiologist, avid hunter. After the break, when we come back, we'll talk more about what you can do to avoid situations like I find myself in, right? And yes, I know you can wear hearing protection when you're on the range. All these things make sense. But do you really want to wear something when you're in the field or in a tree stand that cuts down the noise. No, you wouldn't be able to hear anything walking up on you or anything else. So this, as Doc said, it's not something you want to admit. And why is it that there is this stigma about hearing loss? Like, people are more likely to acknowledge that their eyesight is going bad and they'll get glasses. Okay, yeah, but your hearing going bad and you need hearing aids? People, myself included, just didn't want to acknowledge that. But it can be pretty much prevented. All right, we'll find out how after the break right here on Outdoor Magazine. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Sheboygan on Big Country Gold, WCBY 1240 AM, 100.7 FM. You can hear us in Flint, Sports Extra 1330 WTRX. And you can hear us in Newberry, WNBY 1450 AM. I'll be driving through Newberry in just a couple of days on my way to my bear hunt, where I will be using a 350 Legend with a new suppressor on it. We'll talk more about suppressors with Dr. Mike Stewart here in just a second. This segment of Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by a Premier Maritime Training. If you've ever wanted to get your captain's license, I think this is your best bet. Captain John Littlefield taught my captain's class, and he can help you become a licensed charter captain as well. Check out the website, pmtcaptains.com, for more info. John has classes across the state at a variety of different times, so I'm sure you can find one that'll fit your schedule. John is a great guy, honestly. He takes what I found to be some very complex scenarios and breaks them down so they're easily understandable. I really appreciated the job he did in helping me become a licensed charter captain. That's pmtcaptains.com. pmtcaptains.com. Tell him Avery sent you that direction. Okay, I referenced Dr. Mike Stewart. He's on the line with us now. Mike is a hardcore hunter and an audiologist as well. Mike, the factors in the amount of sound pressure or noise that a gun would generate, is it bore related? Is it barrel length related? Is it distance to your ear? What are the factors?
All three of them, Mike. The longer the barrel, the better. The shorter the barrel, the bigger the caliber, the bigger the charge, the more sound pressure level you're going to generate. So pistols, especially big bore pistols, are extremely dangerous. And that 45 you're talking about, especially the 45 long Colt, really loud, very loud. 357, very loud. Dangerous with one shot, depending on the acoustic environment.
So what do we do then to be smarter than I have been? How do we protect ourselves in a manner that doesn't become so cumbersome we just won't use it?
Right. Well, you can look at the gun. Do you really need a semi-auto big bore for whitetail? Probably not. How about a single shot or a bolt action? What about your caliber? 30-06 is a favorite deer gun, but it's one of the loudest.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe a 7mm 08. Longer barrel, wearing hearing protection, especially the nonlinear, so you can hear until there's a loud sound. And these are fairly inexpensive, $10, $12 a pair. Or the electronic stuff, which is really ideal, Mike, because that helps you hear. And then when you pull the trigger, it acts as hearing protection. Subsonic ammo, I'd go to that. If you're going to be shooting within 50 yards, the subsonic ammo, especially in combination with a suppressor, can really reduce the sound pressure level by 30, 40, even 45 decibels.
Wow.
So a tremendous reduction in sound pressure with the subsonic ammo coupled with a suppressor.
Tell me more about this non-linear that's only $10 or $15.
Yeah, one of the famous ones is the Combat Arms. There's a website I go to all the time. Is Hearing Protection or Hearing Plug Superstore, and they have all of these devices available. And the nonlinears, basically, how they're just engineered by the way they're made to let soft sounds in. and you do lose a little bit of hearing because it does plug up the ear canal, and you lose a little bit of your resonance. But overall, very minimal hearing loss until you pull the trigger, and then they act just like conventional hearing protections. So the nonlinears are a really cheap way to, or another thing is the high fidelity plugs that just give you maybe 10 decibels of attenuation across the entire frequency range. They're high fidelity, so they don't distort speech. And these are really great to be used with a suppressor, because the suppressor doesn't eliminate the noise; it reduces it, but it could still be dangerous depending on how close you are and the caliber and all of that, and acoustic conditions. Shooting in a blind in a reverberant condition can be very dangerous, and I know that personally. So it just increases the sound pressure level.
I'm going to ask you about a topic that we've never discussed in all the many times we talked about before, because I first saw this at the trap range last spring. I was there to watch my grandson, Carter, shoot trap for the local high school team. And, of course, when you're near the trap line, you have to have on hearing and eye protection, which makes complete sense. I saw some kids using AirPods as their hearing protection because they said they attenuated loud noises. Is that an option these days?
It depends on the earpods. It depends on if they're vented or if they're solids. But of course, they're usually connected to a radio or some type of device too, and that you can turn that up too loud also.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they would give you some protection, but probably I'd have to look at it. We've never measured that, Mike, so I can't really speak to that.
Yeah.
But anytime you put anything in the ear, you lose your ear canal resonance, which gives you some protection right away. But if it's a vented system, in other words, a hole in it or whatever, then it's not as effective.
Yeah, and when I saw those young kids, I thought, yeah, you might be able to get away from it for a while, but it's going to catch up with you, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about suppressors. This is something you have been promoting for years. I finally have a suppressor for my Brenton 350 Legend. I'm going to use it for the first time on my bear hunt here in just a few days. I'm very excited about it. And the new process, Doc, with the feds is you can get your paperwork, your tax stamp in days now instead of months.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we've worked with the American Suppressor Association for several years, and they've been really good at trying to, get legislation to make these devices readily available. It's funny because, we have a lot of guns in this country, more than any other country in the world. But you go to Europe and you can go in a hardware store and buy a suppressor for $10 or whatever. Or I don't know if it's that cheap, but you can go in, you don't need any of this paperwork or all this. And so I think at some point this is going to be readily available for anyone who really wants to get a suppressor. It's going to be fairly easy. But at this point, you still have to jump through the hoops.
And they're not cheap yet either.
No, you get a suppressor for a 22, $300-400. You get a suppressor for 30-06, over $1,000.
Yeah. But all right. So obviously, on the range with a suppressor, I will still wear hearing protection. But I don't know, Doc. If I'm sitting there in my blind and I can put the muzzle with a suppressor out the window, I don't think I'm going to wear hearing protection. Is that a mistake?
Could be. I would never advise you not to do that, although I do it. I think
I love your honesty.
Yeah, well, I think we've measured that, and getting the boar out of the blind helps a lot. You certainly don't. But see, are you going to get the boar out of the blind?
Yeah.
Or is there something? A reflection? Are you getting close to the edge of the blind? So. Shooting out of a blind can help, but it could also hurt. So you've got to be very careful there, because you can increase the sound pressure a lot by being in the blind. Yeah. But you're right. Using the suppressor, getting the boar outside of the blind, and especially if you combine that with subsonic ammo, I think you're in pretty good shape.
One thing we haven't talked about that we have covered in the past is waterfowl hunters. You get 3 or 4 guys side by side, a flock comes in, there's going to be a lot of noise all at once.
Yeah, we did a publication on that, probably 10 years ago. And I think, based on my personal knowledge about waterfowl hunting and also watching other people, it's probably one of the most dangerous shooting sports there is, because you get your own gun. You get the impulse from your own gun, but you get impulses from adjacent guns too. And like you say, a flock flies over, you got 3 shots, you got 4 guys, you got 12 shots going off in a matter of a few seconds. Very, very dangerous situation.
All right, couple minutes left, Doc. Give us your best advice, just kind of a recap of what you want us to keep in mind this fall.
Well, like I said, you always want to protect your hearing, and the best way to do that is with electronic devices, so that you can hear the game coming. You're not surprised by anything that comes up, auditorily. You monitor your environment, and then when you pull the trigger, it helps prevent hearing loss, reduces the noise. But also consider the single shot or the bolt action. Consider the subsonic ammo, and especially try to get a suppressor. That helps. That'll take suppressors. With our measurements we've been taking over the years, give you about the same hearing protection as a good set of hearing of earplugs.
Really?
Probably 25 to 30 decibels.
I haven't used subsonic ammo yet. Do you lose a lot of performance with that?
No. Well, you do. You lose range, but you don't lose killing power or range. Or it's pretty flat out to about 50 yards, Mike, and then it does start to drop off. So if you're going to be doing long range hunting out in Colorado, 300-400 yards, no, you can't use that. But if you're in Michigan, where you're probably going to be within 30 to 50 yards of your animal, then I think it's a good thing to use, because it does, like I said, really reduce probably 10 to 15 decibels, and then use the suppressor on top of that, and you can really knock the sound down.
I might look into that.
40 decibels.
Yeah, I'm going to look into that. And what was the website?
Well, why don't you get some subsonic and go to the range and see where it starts to drop off. But I think at about 50 yards, it's still pretty flat.
That's all I need, Doc. 50 yards is my average shot, that's for sure. And what was that website again, real quick? Hearing Protection Superstore?
Superstore. I think it's the Earplug Superstore.
Superstore.
You can Google it or anything about hearing protection, and it'll probably bring you to that site.
Okay. And so, do we consider you officially retired now?
Oh yeah, I am, but we're still doing research on firearm noise with the group that I've been working with. We just completed our 15th annual shoot, and we're still analyzing the data. And one thing we did look at this year, which is interesting, is using eyeglasses with muffs, and we found that the eyeglasses, because they cause a slit, between the cushion and the head, can really reduce the noise, or can really reduce the effectiveness.
That's a topic for next time, Doc. Listen, that's a topic for next time. I got to let you go. Dr. Mike Stewart, the guy I go to when I have questions about shooting and hearing loss and hearing protection. He's a great guy. We'll take a break when we come back. Steve Wyndham of MUCC. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Houghton Lake on the Twister 92.1 WTWS. You can hear us in Holland on WHTC AM and FM. That's 1450 AM, 99.7 FM. And you can hear us north of the bridge in Escanaba on WCHT. That's 93.5 FM and 600 AM. The segment of Outdoor Magazine brought to you by Rapid River Knives. Okay, I'll do it. You're expecting it. All right, here we go. All right, that's the sound of my Rapid River knife locking back. I just pulled it out of my pocket. Had a real good discussion with Kris Duerson of Rapid River in the first hour. Check out the new website, rapidriverknifeworks.com, rapidriverknifeworks.com. Some exciting things going on at Rapid River Knives. Also, some exciting things, I think, at MUCC, Michigan United Conservation Clubs. That is the group. Why is that doing that? No, stop, end. Okay, boom. No, boom. Okay. Sorry about that. MUCC is a group that I am a member of. I do not believe in everything they believe in, but I certainly believe in their overall message. I think they do a great job, and I support them strongly. Steve Wyndham is with MUCC, and I want to talk to him about some of the things going on there now. Steve, welcome back. How are you?
Going good, Mike. How are you doing?
Good. Hey, listen, it was nice to see you at Wednesday Night Live at the Lumberjack.
Yeah, that was a great event. Got to make some great connections, hang out with Mr. Angler Quest, and see all the fans up there.
It is... Connections are a big part of what you do there at MUCC, trying to bring people together.
Yeah, as the Director of Development and Membership, we're trying to build more community, raise membership, and keep people in the outdoors while we protect their right to hunt, fish, and trap.
But you want to interact with people. You want to give them a reason. Now, you look at it. I don't think anybody should need a reason to join MUCC. It's very inexpensive, and you do great work. But you guys have come up with a new plan to give us a little spiff to encourage people to get involved.
Yeah, so we are going to be doing a lot of great stuff with memberships and get people more engaged. You know, you said for the price of a box of ammo. We've got a lot of things coming up here in the future. We've got our Rooster Ranch event. We've got convention. So as you kind of opened with, well, you know, if there's something that someone doesn't like about the organization, that's the great thing about MUCC is that they have a chance and a voice to change policy, set policy, and get us to work for them on natural resources issues that they're passionate about.
What about Onyx?
Yeah, and so Onyx actually, so the great new thing about it is we partner with Onyx, and any new member of MUCC is going to get a 3-month trial of their elite membership. So all 50 states in the U.S., a couple new tools they have going on. So when you register as a new member of MUCC, you get that free offer of 3 months of their elite membership. And right now, as it's being hunting season, it's a great tool to get out there and use while you're going to be in the woods the next couple months.
I use Onyx. I think it is indeed a great tool. You have been putting a push on for membership. I personally have seen new members join as a result of the golf outing and other things. When they hear your spiel, when they hear Amy's spiel, or anybody else from MUCC, and we look at the world around us these days, it just makes sense, Steve.
It does. There's lots of things happening all over the country, and, you know, Michigan has an abundance of outdoor opportunity, and we want to expand that and you know, preserve it as well. And so we're fighting for our ability to stay in the woods, but also expand opportunities and keep things moving along so that we can protect our natural resources and outdoor heritage.
So from your perspective, you don't get involved like Justin would with the legislature and stuff. Your job is more dealing with partners and members, correct?
Yeah, my job really entails all of the fundraising events, so the golf outing that we did with you to help benefit our Michigan Outdoors Youth Camp, any of our major donors, our corporate partners. You know, I got to meet the guys from Killer Food Plots and from Wreck Broadheads at the live event. I'm going to see if we can make some partnerships there and, again, increase value to membership. So we're getting a lot of new partners in the outdoor space where members are going to get discounts, they're going to get free trials. And actually, you yourself as a current member of MUCC, all current members get a 1-month free trial of Onyx Elite. So you can log into your member portal and go to member benefits, and then you can actually find that code there. That any current member of MUCC actually gets the benefit right off the hop as well.
Well, good. I was feeling a little left out, but I didn't want to bring it up. Hey,
well, we want to show love to all those current members too.
Let's talk about the Revitalized podcast. Now, I used to do a podcast with you guys years ago, and it was okay. I'm not, I was never really comfortable with how it worked out. Obviously, you guys weren't either. But this new podcast you're launching is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's revamped and kind of reignited, and so actually, the second episode dropped Monday, September 23rd, so the day that we're recording this. I know the show won't be for a few days later, but our second episode is out. It's with DNR biologist Chad Stewart.
Oh.
He's our cervid biologist. A lot of great topics there, and we're going to have other industry experts, other guides, other members on there. We're going to have other partners on there, so we've got a lot of cool content. There's always stuff to talk about with our policy work, but then we also want to highlight camp and our membership, our partners. And so if anybody's out there that wants to be on the show, you can email us at podcast@mucc.org and pitch us some ideas. We're going to be talking to book writers and authors and guides and just even our general membership just to highlight them and our clubs as well to talk about all the great things our clubs have going on.
Podcast@muccoutdoors.org. And then how do we join?
Yeah, mucc.org. So just go to the website, www.mucc.org. You'll see up in the right-hand corner, you'll see join, $35 a year, or a 2-year membership is $60, so you get a little discount there. We also have life member opportunities, and so get that free Onyx, and then also our current members utilize their 1 month free, and look for many, many more opportunities for our memberships to benefit through partners and discounts.
Steve, always a pleasure. Keep up the good work. I will look forward to talking again soon.
Thanks, Mike. Good luck on your bear hunt.
I appreciate that. Steve Windham of MUCC, mucc.org, mucc.org. We'll take a break here in the Outdoor Magazine Show. When we come back, well, during the break, I'm going to try to figure out how I stop my phone. I got a new phone, and it's in silent. I'm looking right at it. It says silent, but it keeps ringing, so it's driving me crazy. And Charlie's not happy about it either. And when Charlie's not happy, my time in the studio is very, very uncomfortable. Ask Avery coming up. Hear the Outdoor Magazine Show in Houghton Lake on 98.5 WUPS. You can hear us just down the coastline in Muskegon, WKBZ, 1090 AM. And you can hear us, let's go to Traverse City, WTCM, 580 AM. The Ask Avery segment is brought to you each week by the good folks at Security Credit Union. Security Credit Union loves to work with outdoorsmen and women, and they can help you with your next outdoor adventure. Check them out online at securitycu.org. That's securitycu.org. Now, the way the Ask Avery segment works is this is your chance to get involved in the content of the show. The best way to get those questions to me is to send me an email, Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com. That's Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com. And in the subject line, if you would, please put Ask Avery just to make it a little bit cleaner. This week's Ask Avery question is, Mike, why do you allow your new cell phone to ring when you're in the studio? No, that's not it. I think I got it figured out. This actually comes to me not from an email, right? I'm always saying, please don't send your questions via social media messaging. Please send them to me in an email. But this is so good, and I just happened to see it. This is from Dar Kessler. He says, Mike, I have tagged you on many posts. Okay, here's a good example. Don't tag me. I mean, you can tag me if you want. I'm not going to see it. Okay? There's so much social media out there. I try to keep my fingers in so many different directions. I don't have a social media coordinator. I'm it. If you want to get my attention, send me an email to Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Anyway, Mike, I've tagged you on many posts. You are letting these anti-hunters ridicule and shame us as hunters. Why are you allowing this to happen on your post? I hope you do something about this, Mike. Where are you? We are your followers, and we do appreciate what you're doing, but allowing this to happen on our post is wrong. He follows up. He said, it's not a conversation these anti-hunters were having with people. It's shaming and ridiculing. Actually, Dar, that your timing on this is very good, because as I was saying in the first segment of the first hour, is we have had some of these sneak in. Now, here's you got to realize something. A couple of things. This time of year, I get inundated and borderline overwhelmed with content that comes into me, and I encourage it, and I solicit it, and I welcome it, and I want it, and I share everything that I can. But I oftentimes will go through in batches. When I get a couple of minutes, I'll go through and say, share, and I'll put a bunch of them out there. And I don't always see the responses to those right away. So that's why I do need you, when you see something, send me an email, Mike at MikeAveryOutdoors.com. But tell me what post it is. You know, if you say Karen Smith made a negative comment on anti-hunting on your Facebook page, well, listen, if I put out 12 new posts and there are 1,000 comments on those posts, I might not be able to scan through all those and find it. But if you say, hey, Mike, Karen Smith, Karen, actually, we did get an anti-hunting comment from a Karen, which I thought was very, very appropriate. Say, okay, in the post about the young boy who's sitting over a buck that his grandpa gave him the tag for, and you give me the last name, and then give me the name of the person who made the bad comment, okay, then I can help to filter it out. Then I can go through and find it and delete it and ban that person. I do not want or allow anti-hunting or negative comments on any of my social media outlets. When I find them, I immediately delete them, and I ban that person because I don't want to have the conversation. You know, people say, well, it opens up the door so you can have a conversation and try to bring them to our side. No. If you're talking to a non-hunter, you can try to bring them to our side. You can try to show them the light. But the anti-hunters, you can't convince them. You can't show them the light. You can't save them. They're lost. They're ignorant. But it's not an ignorance that we can solve. So if somebody makes one of those comments, delete, ban, delete, ban, delete, ban, delete, ban, delete, ban. Okay? And if you were to look at my list on my Facebook page alone of people who have been banned and deleted, it goes on forever. So I do not intentionally allow these comments. I do not welcome these comments. I don't like to see these comments. I am disgusted by these comments. In fact, when these people make these comments, I got to be honest, I am disgusted by them. You can disagree with us. That's fine. But don't go on my page or another pro-hunting page and make a negative comment about a young person who has legally taken an animal. You're crossing the line. I don't go to your page where you're featuring Fluffy and Foo-Foo and you're holding them and saying, save all kittens. I don't go to your page and try to encourage you to go hunting. Why do you go to my page and tell us that we're doing something wrong? If you see a comment before I see it, because if I see it, I'll ban, delete, ban, delete. If you see a comment before I do, send me an email, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. Don't send me a social media message. Send me an email, mike@mikeaveryoutdoors.com. And thank you, Dar, for sending me that message on social media. It just happened to get through. I will follow up with you. And thank you to the folks at Security Credit Union for making each week's Ask Avery segment possible. Check them out online at securitycu.org. That's securitycu.org. We'll take a break for the top of the hour. When we come back in hour number 3, checking in with an old friend of mine. And I don't mean he's old. He's just been a friend of mine for a long time. Jerry Wydner of the Hunter Safety System. Hunter Safety System is one of those companies that honestly has saved lives over the years. How many people can say that? Well, Jerry Wydner can. We'll talk with him about that. And, of course, Wild Game Chef Extraordinaire Dixie Dave Minar coming up in hour 3 of this week's Outdoor Magazine.
Time now for Michigan's #1 outdoor radio show, Mike Avery's Outdoor Magazine. Mike Avery has covered the outdoors in Michigan for more than 4 decades, and that tradition continues today. Outdoor Magazine is brought to you by Jay's Sporting Goods, the Eider Insurance Group, Angler Quest Pontoons, the Forward Corporation, Primal Outdoors, Security Credit Union, Offshore Tackle, Garber Chevrolet, Rapid River Knife Works, and by Michigan Brand Meats. Now, here's Mike Avery.
Well, thank you, Ken Hunter, for that introduction, and welcome to hour number 3 of this week's Outdoor Magazine radio show here on the Outdoor Magazine Radio Network on more than 30 radio stations across the great state of Michigan. Of course, there is a podcast version of the show, and that is available anywhere. Anywhere you hear a podcast, you can probably hear the Outdoor Magazine podcast. If nothing else, go to my website, mikeaveryoutdoors.com, or check out the Facebook. You will be sure to find the podcast there. So this is the last time we're talking during the month of September. Here in Michigan, that means, well, bow season is just around the corner. I don't hunt from a tree stand much anymore, I'll be honest with you. And if I do, it's going to be from a ladder stand. My days of scampering up a tree on pegs, screw-in steps that some people call gut hooks, or even the climbing sticks, it's going to have to be a pretty special spot for me to do that. I am much more comfortable, if I get off the ground at all, from a ladder stand. Even then, I'm not leaving the ground without a full-body harness on, and I'm not leaving the ground without being hooked to a lifeline. a line that is already attached to the tree that I can stay hooked up the tree while I'm hunting and back down. And I have become more cognizant of that since I've gotten older. But even years ago when I was younger, I learned that there are two types of tree stand hunters. If you spend enough time in a tree stand, there are two types of tree stand hunters, those who have fallen and those who will. Now, hopefully that fall doesn't mean a 30-foot drop to the ground. Hopefully it means, okay, I just slipped, I fell off a step, and my hunter safety system vest caught me. Coincidentally, this morning, as I'm going through a social media feed, and I already had Jerry Wydner of the Hunter Safety System scheduled to be on the show, I saw that a very well-known name in the outdoor industry, the world of outdoors, fell 30 feet from a tree and he had to be airlifted by chopper to the hospital. Fortunately, he appears to be okay. But my first thing, I'm thinking to myself, well, that's a shame. Why wasn't he tied into the tree? Why didn't he have on a vest? Now, I don't know all the stories here. Maybe maybe there's more to this than what I know, but that's what came to mind first. I mentioned Jerry Wydner of Hunter Safety System. These guys, in my mind, are responsible for saving so many lives and for making so many families continue to be whole these days. Jerry Wydner, his brother John, their good friend Jim Barta, started Hunter Safety System years ago. I've been working with these guys since the beginning, and I still think they're the best group out there. Jerry's with us now on the Outdoor Magazine phone line. My friend, welcome back. How are you?
Mike, it's always such a pleasure. You know, you talked about in the beginning, I'm going to shock you right now. I know you're sitting down, otherwise I'd ask you to. That beginning, starting in January, was 25 years.
No. Jerry, you're making me feel even older than I do this morning.
I know. I said, you better be sitting down because it's a shocker, isn't it? I mean, our memories go back. That wasn't 25 years ago. That was 4 years ago, right?
Yeah. Wow. And look at what you've accomplished in that quarter century.
Well, you know, and we've talked about it so many times. We've been so blessed, Mike. I'm convinced God has put us in a position to do what we do. He's opened those doors. He's allowed us to be able to come up with products that make hunters safer and with more hunter-friendly features. And you know what? They have to have hunter-friendly features because no one mandates that you wear a harness, that you do stay safe. But if they're made what we refer to as Bubba-proof, where anybody can do it blindfold, do it easily, it's not an inconvenience, then you're more likely to actually use those safety products. And that's where we sort of hang our hat on being able to do that. Through hard work, through blessings, we, like you said, Mike, we've made a difference in a lot of people's lives, and that's very humbling to know that.
It's hard to imagine for folks who weren't around when this whole thing first started, but this hasn't always been the case. These days, young hunters today put on their safety harness or their vest just like they pick up their bow and pick up their backpack. To them, it is part of hunting. It wasn't always that way, was it, Jerry?
No, not at all. In fact, I remember saying in the early days that, boy, someday, people will put it on just like they do seatbelts. And it was a pipe dream. It was hopeful thinking, but it was a goal. And we're there today, Mike. You're right. Young people, they've gone through the training programs. They've been introduced to these products. It's expected to happen, just like seatbelts. And thank goodness. And it's that mindset and that leadership by the more senior group that have exposed the young hunters to that have made the difference in these people that have since fallen.
Well, it was a fall that started Hunter Safety System in the first place. Your brother John.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, we were hunting, and John. We were hunting out of climbers, and John. The base of his stand actually fell to the ground. And to shorten the story, he had contacted me on a radio and said, "Man, I need help. Hurry!" So I got to him as quickly as I could, and by the grace of God, John had caught himself as he was falling through the climbing portion of his climber. Yeah. I've never heard of that ever happening since, Mike, but there's where the grace of God started right there, and that near tragic situation turned into hunter safety system because we made a decision right then. This isn't going to happen again. We've got to come up with a way to make sure that we come home to those that believe in us. I've got children. I've got a wife that depends on me. And we were staying in a camper that night and literally stayed up all night, actually. And by morning, we had come up with what is today the hunter safety system.
And that first vest, that prototype, I think was sewn by one of your wives or a sister-in-law or somebody?
Yeah, it was actually John's sister-in-law because she was the only person we knew that could sew. And she sewed it, and she made us one, which we still have in our office, by the way, got it under glass. And we went back to her and said, that's perfect, that's just what and now I need two more because we wanted one for John, one for me, one for Jim. And she looked at us very sternly and said, nope, I'll never build another one. That's it, you got that, and I'm done.
Why?
She said it was such a nightmare to put it together. And we struggled from that point on trying to get these made. We went to a factory, and they told us basically the same thing. And that's where the grace of God and some new thinking, and we had to create a different way of putting one together. And it finally worked after being told no over and over again. It's a great idea. It's a good concept, but it's a manufacturing nightmare built. But we found a way to do it, and now here we are 25 years later, Mike.
You know, this is interesting because this isn't just a hunting story you're telling. This is a life lesson. You guys got told no more than once, and you did it anyway.
Oh goodness, yeah. It was not just no, but please go away, and that was and was literally that. You know, we can't do it. It can't be done. Yeah, great idea, good thinking. So we just came back and started redrawing and coming up with different ways to be able to now make the manufacturing process less of a nightmare. And as though we knew anything about manufacturing, but some ideas came, we would introduce that, we'd go back, and it was still a no, but that's better. And eventually we got to where they said, you know what, we can do this. And it started from that point.
Well, you know about manufacturing and marketing now, don't you?
You know, it's amazing. And I think it's that now that we are sort of mainstream, we've gone through the headaches and the heartaches of trying to start a business. And anybody listening, including yourself, Mike, you know the heartaches and the headaches of a business. There's plenty of them. And they come with a huge price. But we're fortunate. We are there. And, you know, Mike, now going into our 25th year, we're now going to venture into the saddle hunting industry.
Really?
A whole new market for us. Yep, we are going into that. We're introducing them now. We've got a full line of saddles and platforms and ropes and accessory items. And, in fact, I've got one item that is really going to change the industry. That sounds very cliche, and I'm sorry for saying that, but it will, and it's called the slap strap. If you haven't heard of it yet, and most people haven't because we've just only introduced it a few weeks ago, but if you can go on YouTube, pull up slap strap, it'll explain what this product's all about. And Mike, do you remember those old slap wrist bands you slap under your wrist?
Yeah.
Think of that, but it slaps around a tree. Now, attached to that is your lifeline, or it's your lineman's belt, or it's your tether rope, whatever one you need. If it's a saddle hunter, it's both the tether rope and the lineman's belt. If you are a climber hunter, then it's your tether rope around the tree.
Hang tight, Jerry. Hang tight. I'm looking at the video right now. I've got to take a break. It's a hard break, so I got to go. But I'm looking at this video. We'll talk more about this after the break. We're talking with Jerry Wydner of Hunter Safety System, huntersafetysystem.com. These guys have saved a lot of lives, and they continue to come up with cool new products that you can use in the Michigan woods this fall. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in St. Joe on WSJM 94.9 FM. Let's go to the other side of the state. WIOS in Tawas, 1480 AM, 106.9 FM. And north of the bridge, you can hear us in Manistee on WTIQ, 1490 AM, 95.3 FM. This segment of the Outdoor Magazine show is brought to you by, in fact, if you just heard the commercial break there, it's a kind of a follow-up on that truck trolley. This is a Michigan-based, family-owned small company that I'm trying to get behind these guys because they've come up with a great product. You know, we like to make things as easy as possible, right, to enjoy our outdoor passions. Now, that doesn't, mean we're taking the easy way out or we're not willing to walk in the extra quarter mile to the stand or anything like that. But think of something that you use every day, right? You're in and out of your truck all day long. I don't care if it's just for groceries or if it's for tree stands or if it's for feed or whatever. And it gets harder and harder to get into the front part of that truck. I used to have an old man hook, I called it. It was a broom handle with a hook on the end of it where I could reach up into the front of the bed and pull things back. I don't worry about that anymore. Truck trolley is this unit that you put in. It's not permanent in there. It's held in there with straps where you can pull the content of your truck out the truck bed so you can easily get to it. You can take it out and remove it when you don't need it. It's very, very slick. I would encourage you to check it out, trucktrolley.com. That's trucktrolley.com. In some ways, this truck trolley reminds me of the early days of Hunter Safety System. It is a product that came about because there was a need and a small group of guys, a couple of guys, got together and made it work. Hunter Safety System started now 25 years ago, which just still blows my mind, from 3 guys who saw a need to keep people safe when they were going up in tree stands. Jerry Wydner was one of those guys. Jerry, I got to believe you can relate to a company like Truck Trolley when they're trying to get things off the ground.
You know what? It's funny, Mike. I heard you talking just then. I just wrote it down. Truck Trolley. I'm going to be checking them out as soon as I get off the phone. That's who doesn't need that?
Exactly. And anybody who goes up a tree, look at, Jerry, we've had this talk before. There are still some young guys out there who say, look, I'm young, I'm bulletproof, I can climb, I'm like a monkey. Don't take the chance. You got people at home waiting for you.
That's the whole thing. And, just like you mentioned earlier in your broadcast, Mike, you talked about a dear friend of falling over the weekend. And it can happen to any of us and has happened to so many of us. And the beauty is it doesn't have to happen today. With today's products, with what we've got and the education we've got and the simple and ease of use of these products, there's really no excuse today, Mike.
There really isn't, honestly. There are no excuses. You've taken every excuse out of there. Even price. People used to say early on, well, it's a little bit expensive. I didn't think so. How much is your life really worth, But now you've got these things down to where they're so reasonable. There really are no excuses. You've done a great job, Jerry.
Well, thank you, Mike. I appreciate that. And we're going to be doing that same thing into this new saddle world, too, because the saddle hunting world started in someone's garage, and like most companies do. And we're able to come into this already established. So we've already got factories and warehouses and shipping and reps and dealers and you name it. So we're able to build things and get them out to people cheaper. So we're going to be able to offer this at an exceptional price point on these new saddle products. And, I had to be convinced to get into it because for the longest, I wasn't convinced of the safety aspect of saddle hunting, but that's where I started trying to develop this slap strap. And after getting that slap strap up and going and perfecting that, and I've been working on this for a little over 2 years, now I am totally convinced saddle hunting is as safe, if not safer, with that product, with that slap strap product included with it, than anything else that we can do up in a tree. So I'm 100% on board with it. I'm not a young man. That part of hunting is probably not going to be a whole lot of my repertoire, but it certainly is a new standard for hunters coming out today.
It is. Saddle hunting is one of the hottest things out there with a younger hunter, and thank God we have younger hunters. I'm looking at the video, one of the videos on YouTube, where it explains this. You've almost got to see this in action to fully comprehend it, I think, Jerry.
Yeah, you do. I think the pure basics of it is if we're hanging a stand, let's say you're using it as a lineman's belt and you're hanging a stand, one of the issues we have with a lineman's belt is gravity comes into play. Every time we put slack in that lineman's belt, the back side of it wants to fall down. So we're constantly trying to fight that, pulling it back up, pulling it back up, pulling it, and we have to take our balance into consideration when we're doing that. Well, the slap strap holds it in place. It never moves. And simply loosen it from the tree. You pull it out, put it up, let go of it, slaps back to the tree, and stays there until you want to move it again. You know, Mike, I remember you and I using climbers years ago, climbing up trees. And we were both very safety conscious, you just like me, and we would stay connected, I mean, from the moment we left the ground till we got back. But you had to deal with that buckle and that strap, and you had to loosen the buckle each time, move the strap up, gravity's wanting to pull it back down, tighten it back down, and then move up again. Now, Mike, it's as simple as just pull it out, push it up, let go of it, boom, and stay up. And it just makes life safer, makes hunting easier, and if you hang stands, if you hunt out of if you're a saddle hunter, you're going to want to be introduced to this slap strap.
Yeah, it looks pretty sweet. You can find it on huntersafetysystem.com, huntersafetysystem.com. When is that going to be out? Is it available for this fall, Jerry?
You know what, Mike? Everything right now is in-house and ready to go, except the slap straps. We've ordered twice. They're gone when they come in. In fact, I've got another order arriving today, but they're all spoken for. Every time it comes in, they're gone. But if anybody needs one, go on huntersafetysystem.com, place your order, and be on that list when the next shipment comes in, because we keep thinking we've got plenty, but it's just one of those type of products, and I thank God for that, and I'm glad to know that that's going to make a difference in somebody's safety and convenience going forward.
Is the difficulty of availability, is that because it's such a great product, or are we still seeing, I hate to even use the thing we went through a few years ago called a pandemic when you couldn't get anything? Are you still dealing with that, Jerry?
No, really not. No, everything right now is as smooth as it can be. I can get whatever I need. I can get the products. I can get the materials. That's now in the past, thank goodness, because, boy, that was huge a couple of years ago. But, yeah, that slap strap is just, we didn't anticipate how it's going to kick off. And, Mike, we don't have it advertised anywhere. It's not advertised anywhere.
Well, how are people finding it?
Well, you know what? I'm amazed with that, Mike. We've been to 2 shows. We went to a local show in Alabama. We went to one in Pennsylvania. And that's the only place we've been, and it just took off from there. So it's an amazing product. It truly is. But, you know, the way this social world is today,
yeah.
Bob sees it, and he contacts Jim, Joe, and Harry, and it just goes that way.
Yeah. You know, I was looking at my hunting gear the other day, getting ready for the upcoming Michigan bow season, and my hunter safety system vest is hanging there, ready for me to use it, as I will. And I looked at that, Jerry, and I thought, man, that design has come such a long way. It actually looks a lot more just like a harness these days instead of a vest, but the difference is it's so darn easy to put on.
Yeah, you know, we've been listening to hunters throughout all the years, and they'll tell us what they want. And, you know, we went from reversible harnesses to more of a garment type harness to more of a lightweight type harness. So we just keep listening and trying to build what everybody is saying they want. And, of course, we keep models of all of them throughout that, but it's an evolution of the industry, just like any other industry, but we'll stay on that cutting edge and make sure that if there's a better way to do it, a safer way to do it, a more hunter-friendly way to do it, then that's what we'll have.
Jerry, the version I have, I bought it a few years ago now. If I continue to use this, and God willing, I don't fall, so it doesn't go under any additional strain, will this last indefinitely, or should I upgrade these or update these periodically, even if I don't take a fall?
Well, there's the ASTM standards, which we have to abide by, say that there's a 5-year lifespan on harnesses. So anybody that purchases a harness according to standards, you're supposed to replace it after 5 years. Use it for 5 seasons and then replace it on the 6th season. Will it last longer than that, Mike? I have no doubt it will. But I do have to abide by those standards. If someone asks me that question, that is the standard. That's not just for recreational harnesses, but that's industrial and all harnesses. And it's just trying to err on the side of safety at all times.
Sure, absolutely. A couple minutes left before I have to let you go, Jerry. Any good hunts coming up this fall? Anything special?
You know, I didn't draw a tag this year for Kansas, which, that just sort of freaked me out a little bit because I got a place I've hunted for years. But I am going to Kentucky in about 4 weeks. I'm really looking forward to that. I'm excited about it. And I might have one other hunt lined up, but I'm not even sure of that, which amazes me. It used to be 5, 6, 7 hunts, as you know.
Oh, yeah.
When I would travel around hunting all different places. But I'm 71, Mike. I can't tell you that, but I'm 71 years old. But I still love getting up in my tree.
Boy, we tore it up there for a while, didn't we?
We did. Had tremendous memories, just tremendous.
Jerry, it's been a pleasure and an honor to work with you and Hunter Safety System. And I'm still a big proponent of your products. Again, I tell people there's 2 types of tree stand hunters, those who have fallen, those who will. If you're going to fall, have some kind of a full-body harness. I recommend Hunter Safety System, but geez, wear something at least.
Mike, I want to thank you for all you've done for us, because when we first got in the business 25 years ago, you were the person we started in business with. It was Mike Avery Outdoors. And you alone are responsible for many lives. You don't know it, but you are. The message that you've sent and the fact that you've stayed true to that safety message and the people that you affect has made a difference. And, you and I have talked. I've got almost 700 letters now from people that have said, didn't think it would happen to me, but it did yesterday. And these are people that I haven't talked to. These are people you've talked to.
Well, they're Jerry, they're here because of you guys. As you say, God's grace and Hunter Safety System. Jerry Wydner of Hunter Safety System, huntersafetysystem.com, one of the truly, truly good guys in the industry. You can hear the Outdoor Magazine show in Manistee on WMLQ 97.7 FM. You can hear us in Sandusky in the Thumb, WMIC 660 AM 95.3 FM. And you can hear us in Saginaw on WSGW, that's 790 AM 100.5 FM. I'm in the studios of WSGW right now. I'm here with Charlie Root. Charlie, how many years now have I been doing this show here at SGW? Like 20? 20 next January. Time does fly. And I tell you what, these last 3 hours have really flown too. I am, it is, to go back to Jerry Wydner, he kept talking about blessings. It is a blessing to be able to do something that I do love. Charlie Root's with me. He's doing a great job. I'm looking out there. It's threatening rain, Charlie. I don't see the crowds. I mean, it's my, all right. We're yes, that's the whole thing. Thank you. We're recording on a different day this week, so they didn't expect me to be here. So the crowds are not out there chanting Charlie, Charlie. Charlie's just glad they're not out there with pitchforks and torches. But I've worked very closely with the folks at SGW. I appreciate their partnership. I appreciate all of my affiliates. We've got more than 30 across the state. It is not, it would be impossible to do this show without having affiliates across the state. Could I do just a podcast version of the show? Yeah, but it wouldn't be the same. So the broadcast aspect of this is critical, it's crucial, And again, if you can listen to the Outdoor Magazine radio show on your local radio station, I think that's the way to go. This segment of the show is brought to you by Reader Landscaping. Reader can take care of your lawn and property because it's your nature and our nurture. Lots of things to be done this time of year, right? Now we're looking at October. The weather has changed. I don't know about you, but until the weather changed, I didn't really feel like it was kind of being fall. You know, this calendar says mid-September, late September. But when it's a bluebird sky and it's 85 degrees, it's like, nah, it's not fall yet. Well, you know what? It is fall. A lot of things to start getting done now. Maybe you've got the time to do these things yourself. Maybe you've got the time to do the fall cleanup, the fall pruning, taking care of the sprinkler system, aerating the lawn, cleaning up the lawn. Maybe you've got time to do it. Maybe you like to do those things. If you've decided you'd like somebody else to help you out, because here's what I always say. For every day that a Reader crew is at my house, it's one more day I can spend on the water or in the woods. So check them out. You got fall containers as well to make the place look better. One-stop shop for your outdoor needs. The website, readerlandscaping.com. That's readerlandscaping.com. Now, I just realized I fell into a self-imposed trap here just a minute ago that I've been trying to stay away from lately, and I went deep down the rabbit hole in the previous two segments with Jerry Wydner of Hunter Safety System. I'm trying not to come across as an old guy, which is not always easy because I am, I'm not a young guy anymore. But I don't want to be that guy who stands back in the corner and says, well, here's the way we used to do it, or here, let me tell you, youngster, how to do it. I'm going to tell you a better way to do it, whatever it is. But my perspective these days is from a person who has a little bit different mindset maybe, or certainly more experiences than somebody who is younger. But I don't want to pigeonhole myself, and I don't want you thinking of me as that old guy creaking in front of a microphone who can barely get his words out, who just talks about the old days and nothing new. I don't want to be that guy. Do I have a lot of cool stories from the past? Absolutely. Do I have a lot of experiences from the past? Absolutely. Have I been involved in the outdoor industry a long time? Yes. When I hear about Jerry Wydner talking about me being there at the early days of Hunter Safety System when they got it off the ground, that is rewarding to me. I take some pride in that, but I don't want that to diminish in any way what I'm trying to do today. And what I'm trying to do today is do whatever small part I can to promote and maybe even protect this outdoor lifestyle that we all value so much. Hunting and fishing and shooting and trapping. It's a way of life here in our state. It is a way of life in many of our families. It goes back in my family as far as I can remember, and hopefully it'll go down in generations that I'm gone. We'll still be continuing this outdoor lifestyle. It's under attack by many people. And again, I talked about this earlier in the show. I post a picture of a young boy, smiling face. He's sitting over a bear or over a deer. Maybe he's using a gun that Grandpa gave him. Maybe he's using a bear tag that his grandpa let him, traded or transferred to him. Everything about that is positive. And then I see these comments from people who don't have a clue about how it's evil, it's immoral. It's not evil. It's not immoral. It is the right thing to do to continue this outdoor history and tradition. It is the right thing to do to continue to be stewards of the resource. So that's what I want to be a part of. That's what I want to promote. And that's what I do my best to promote. And I appreciate you being along here for the ride, whether it's the radio show, whether it's the podcast, whether it's social media. Couldn't do it without you. I couldn't be here as long as I have without your support. And from the bottom of my heart, I do really appreciate it. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap it all up with wild game chef extraordinaire Dixie Dave Minar. I think he's got, Charlie, did he say another bear recipe? And he got another, bear barley soup. Oh, I just took the wind out of his sails. I just took his surprise away. Pretend like you don't know it, all right? Play dumb. When he comes back, don't let him know what's going on. Welcome back to Outdoor Magazine. My name is Mike Avery. The website, by the way, MikeAveryOutdoors.com. My email address is mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. I would love to hear from you. Let me know what's on your mind. Send me your Ask Avery questions. Best way to get them to me, Mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. Okay, now, Wild Game Chef Extraordinaire Dixie Dave Minar wraps up each week's show. I never know what Dave is going to be cooking. So he's going to surprise me. Okay, remember our conversation from the earlier segment? David, welcome back. How are you?
Real good. I'm full of surprises.
You are. What are you going to surprise us with this week, buddy?
I have a bear barley soup. It's on page 161, but I wrote in the cookbook this was for beaver barley, but we have made it with just about any kind of critter you can imagine.
I remember your barley soup. It's outstanding. Let's hear it.
Right. Okay, so you're going to take about this is for quite a large batch of soup, and it actually freezes very well. So you can make as much or as little as you care to. So you're going to need about 3 pounds of bear meat trimmed of all visible fat and sinew. So you want just the pure meat. And you want a diced, soup-sized piece. 2 large onions, diced fine. 4 stalks of celery, diced fine. A pound of get regular barley, pearled barley. Don't get the instant stuff because it won't thicken up as much as we want it to do. You need beef base to taste. You need a teaspoon of Italian spice, a couple of pound package of frozen mixed vegetables, and it should have everything in there like green beans and peas and all the good stuff that you're going to be looking for. 3 to 4 cloves of garlic diced real fine so that it blends in. And if the frozen vegetables have mixed diced carrots in it, you can leave the carrots out. But if you get some that don't have the carrots, you need about 3 carrots diced, same size as the other stuff. A couple of potatoes, 2 or 3 potatoes diced medium fine, little olive oil to saute, and lots of black pepper. So grate the pepper all over the bear first, all the nice diced up bear. And in a real nice hot saute pan or whatever you're going to use to cook this with, you want to brown the bear on all sides, just to kind of set it up. And what that does is it caramelizes it, and it gives it a nice flavor, too. So in that large, heavy pot that you brown the meat in, you can add the vegetables and water to cover how much you're going to do, actually. And so after this comes up to a boil, and if you have any skim, like foam on top, you want to get rid of that. Take a spoon and dip that out of there. Don't mix it in. You want to get rid of that because sometimes that might have a little strong flavor, whether it would be bear or beaver soup, either one. And so when it comes up to a boil, add the barley and make sure you got your nice flavor for the base that you've added to it. Now is the time to adjust, whether salt, pepper, base, whatever the flavor is you're looking for. And after the base is melted down, taste it for flavor. And it's going to take an hour and a half or more of simmering this lightly. And about an hour into this, you're going to add the potatoes. And if the barley is going to make it real thick. And so if you got it too thick, just add a little bit more water and then adjust your flavor after you've added more water if need be. And then continue to simmer it until it's tender. And this is a killer way to make any kind of a soup, whether it's from beef or bear or beaver or venison or any of the other game meats that we've made this with. We used to sell this at the restaurant as a wild game soup.
Oh, it sounds outstanding. And if you're making it for me, put as much pepper on as you think, then add more, then double it, and I'll be happy.
There you go. I know that. That's why I say grate a lot of it all over. And plus, when you're browning it off, that's going to break the peppery flavor loose because of the heat releases that pepper flavor.
And I do have to let you in on this, Dave. I let the cat out of the bag, and the segment before we had you on, I told them what we were going to have. I like to wait and let you surprise people, and I didn't do that, and I'm sorry.
Oh, Apology accepted.
Okay. All right. All right, buddy. Listen, have a good week, and we will talk with you next time. Why don't you just surprise me next time? I don't know what I want to know what you're going to cook. Just legitimately surprise me, and I'll hear it for the first time when we hit the air.
We got squirrel season. We got rabbit. We got goose, teal.
You got everything. Everything to choose from by then.
Next week, venison will be on the market.
Listen, don't tell me. Don't even tell me. Just surprise me.
Okay, got you.
All right. Wild Game Chef Dixie Dave Minar. Thanks, buddy. Oh, he got us that time, didn't he, Charlie? Just when we thought we had this all figured out. Wild Game Chef Dixie Dave Minar, a big part of the Outdoor Magazine show, as are you, though, because as I said earlier, I couldn't do this show if you weren't listening, and I do certainly appreciate it. My name is Mike Avery. This show is called Outdoor Magazine Radio. I also do a podcast version of the show. I do podcasts for some of my advertising partners. My website is MikeAveryOutdoors.com. That's MikeAveryOutdoors.com. I'm also on social media quite a bit, not like some of the folks are, but quite a bit. And my email address is mike@MikeAveryOutdoors.com. I do want to hear from you. Let me know what's on your mind. Send me questions for the Ask Avery segment. Send me your pictures as well. I look forward to seeing them. If there's a kid in the post, please put a hashtag on Forward Fuels Tradition, and you could win a $50 gift card from the Forward Corporation. Hey, look, if you don't put the hashtag on there, I will. Have a great week, my friends. Next time we come back, I'll let you know how my bear hunt went, and more coming up on Outdoor Magazine.